All right, everybody, welcome to the overview of what we're going to be doing in the upcoming sim series here on Madden 26. So for the Giants overview, right, we did that, wanting to kind of describe how we're going to set that up. This is how we're going to do it here to kind of give us a little wrinkle, allow ourselves to just kind of prep for the following season. But basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking over the Dolphins, just what we were trying to do as we were experimenting that in the last Madden towards the end of that one, that game. So how we're going to do it is for Miami, right? That's the team we're going to be taking on. Our goal is to let the games play out as they are as far as simming. We're just going to do a regular sim from one week to the other, and the hope is that we're going to get a chance to see, like, where will this team land. Now, as far as where we're at right now, the Dolphins are just a horrendous team as far as a makeup is concerned. I don't think McDaniels is the right coach. I think from an offensive mind standpoint, if he was a QB coach maybe, or maybe some type of scheme designer, like some type of specialist on the offensive side, I don't think he's a great head coach. And I definitely don't feel that the Dolphins organization is really that strong altogether. They have a very strong history, right? They're the franchise with the only undefeated season, right? They won it all and never lost a game. That hasn't been since the 70s. You had a guy like Dan Marino who kind of pushed his team to the limit, that aerial assault situation, and just did not make it after his rookie year. There was a chance where you saw some things with like Pennington, maybe a little glimpse, where they just always seem to figure out ways to beat the freaking Patriots. And then right now you got Tua Tagovailoa, who is probably one of the most accurate passers in the NFL, but he's got a crazy concussion issue that all it takes is if he gets smoked one time, that's pretty much the end of Tua. There's no way they're going to let that man play if he gets clipped. And right now, one of the concerns is they lost one of their main guys on that O-line. That was a huge loss for the Dolphins. You're talking about no more Armstead. So this O-line, in the interior, it's okay right here, but every other part of this thing is horrendous. I think Jackson and Borum can play, manageable, but there is nothing that is truly taking care of Tua. Now the issue is that Tua Tagovailoa's freaking contract is insane. They paid him to be the franchise guy, but when you look at this contract, he's pretty much a Dolphin for life. He's got $84 million bonus. So if you do the numbers, basically there, when it says $84 million, basically 2027, you have an out for Tua. So you could choose to keep him at that point. You could choose to remove him, but that seems to be the point there with that $84 million contract. So when you see something like that, you're like, okay, can we build something around it? Now, they were able to bring back Darren Waller from his rap career, and I still don't understand it. There's some really interesting pieces, though. I am a fan of Ollie Gordon. He did win the best running back in college. And you got Devon Achane, who's very slick right there. You got Jalen Waddle, who I think can play really well. Tyreek Hill's pretty nasty. Now, Westbrook Akine, I think he got the bag, but really, the guy just... It was nuts, dude. Last season with the Titans, he would have like 2 or 3 catches a game, and 2 of those 3 would be touchdowns. It was every game. No one guarded the guy. I don't know what the heck's going on. So that's an interesting play right there. But I am a fan of Malik Washington. I think he'd be great. We just have some things to work on here. But our goal is to advance all the way to the end of the season, and then from there, you will see us move this team to a new location. Now, where are we going to move it? More than likely, we're going to follow that storyline of moving our team to Toronto. That's the goal there. We want to get them up into Canada. And then from Canada, what I'd like to do is build out a dome. I want to be a little bit different there, just to kind of work through that. So we're going to figure out the mascot along the way, but that's going to be our goal. We're going to see where this team lies from a simulation standpoint. It'll also allow us to see what does the simulation look like, right? With the recent trade of Micah Parsons, do the Packers finally make a move and do something with that? Or do the Vikings and the Lions kind of shut it down? Or are the Bears the new dogs in the house now, and do they run that thing? What happens to the Eagles? Do the Eagles just push their way all the way to it, or is another team there going to make it work like Jaden Daniels and the Commanders? Or do the Giants, my Giants, actually make it work? You know, you got teams like the Texans, right? You had the sophomore slump with Stroud, but they got some new weapons over there, and you still got DeMeco Ryans, who's a very good coach, hanging out there in Houston. You got you got the Chargers and the Chiefs, and maybe the Raiders figure some stuff out. Maybe the Broncos do some things with Sean Payton. You just never know. So it's going to be cool to kind of watch that simulation there. Our goal is to kind of check these games out and kind of work through it there. What I'd like to do too is, knowing that we're going to have certain games, I want to jump into this thing to where we will be able to set up the settings. I think it's in user settings, where we're going to be able to have the toggle on for auto pass. So when we turn it to auto pass, the goal there is to allow us to just pick the play and watch it from the angle that you normally watch it when you play a game. So that's the hope there, is that we'll get a chance to mess with that and kind of play that out. And I'll kind of do that here, where we're not going to use this system. That's why I was okay when I saw the password for this league. It'll be deleted by the time this video is out. But the goal is to kind of play that simulation there, and then us mimic the offensive coordinator or the head coach calling the plays there, and then even trying to mimic, and then watching the defense from the side, or checking out the defense, just not touching it. We call the play, but we just let the play kind of work out. I think it's going to be kind of neat to see how our guys will work through that simulation, right? Slow sim is a little different than how we're going to set that up, but we'll mix it up. We'll be able to watch some games from the side, and then we'll be able to watch some games in front of us right there. But I think it's going to be kind of neat. I think the kicking aspect, right, we can kind of go to the simulation on that, kind of see what happens there, because you can't really do any simulation for the kicking when you make the call. You actually have to kick the ball there. Oh, man, they always make Trevor Lawrence's hair crazy long, like Troy Polamalu's hair. It's really weird. Let's do this real quick. Let's sim. Got that set up. Let's sim to change of possession. There you go. And then our hope here is that I'll kind of show a little bit about what we're doing. So we're going to go like halfback dive, right? So our goal is, all we got to do is, now that we make the play, you just press to snap, and then the game should do it by itself. Achane gets smoked right there by Josh Allen. Lines in right there. Let's try the slip screen here. Shotgun, deuce close, defense looks like 7 in the box kind of. It's kind of crazy. Do what Tua can do. This also gives us a chance to call timeouts if we want to. It'll give us a chance to just kind of even challenge too. Gets the ball off in time. He's got blockers. Achane getting up the field. See, so it's kind of neat. Well, I didn't have to touch the controller after snapping the ball. Little tweaks here and there, but that's the hope, right? Like, we'll be able to just kind of mimic that. And the hope is, by the time we get to the end of the season, right, we'll be able to show a little bit about how we're going to create our playbook, because I do want to mimic that part to kind of allow us to make the plays that we want. Ooh, a little shuffle pass there. Ooh, Achane got smoked. But I think that, the Dolphins organization itself, in the last one, I just kind of removed everybody and said, hey, we're just going to go ahead and start the team from scratch. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to build it with that. You know, when when teams relocate, you don't get rid of everybody. You got to build it, and I think that's going to work out for us. So we're doing that build right now in the NCAA series, but I don't think there's any reason to try to mimic that again here. I want to have some different stuff. NCAA has a rebuild for the one team that I play. Then I got a build it from the cupcake roster over there, building it from scratch. Here we're going to do the Giants rebuild, and then we're going to have this set up here where we're just going to relocate and create a team relocation series there for the AFC East. And then them relocating to Toronto, I think, kind of makes sense. Nowhere to go there. You got smoked. This O-line's pretty solid. Now this is on all Madden, so some stuff doesn't make sense. But I think the way I kind of look at it right now is, you know, we're going to probably have it on all pro. I think that's probably the next move there, is when we have it on all pro, we'll be able to kind of watch the play-by-play a little bit. But I think it's going to be neat. We're going to be able to have some different angles in the game now to allow ourselves to kind of, you know, try to get fully immersed with it. And I think it's kind of cool because with the new game plan stuff, you can kind of change the game plan within it, and it should leverage different parts of your playbook or call those out a little bit more, which I think would be kind of neat. I thought about trying to do some type of like OC or DC situation in this thing. I would rather just kind of mess with the whole organization, because you still got to rebuild it and stuff. You could say, hey, I'm going to play as the OC and then auto create, you know, auto sign and stuff. I just don't know how that works out here. It looks like Jacksonville scored. 5:31 left here in the half, but yeah, I think that's it's going to be kind of fun. So we'll try to come from this angle. We'll even do slow sim to kind of mess with those, but he does tend to check down a lot. It's not to say that it's wrong, it's just really weird. But this is where I feel like the Dolphins screwed up. Like, I think after this season, Tyreek Hill's contract is pretty much available to kind of mess with stuff. But I think they got to figure out how to clean it up. There's a flag on the play. Unreal holding call. You know, you paid Tua, so now you're kind of on a clock. Like, you got to win with what you got, which means it requires you to draft better, which I feel like Tyreek Hill was kind of that splash move. Jalen Waddle was a great pickup. Achan's been nice, but they haven't done much for O-line, which is kind of sad. Nice catch by Waddle. I wish they would have done better right there with the O-line. I think Paul was an interesting concept. He's just a big dude. But I haven't really seen much. The interior line needs so much work. Defensively, I think they've definitely improved there, which is kind of nice. And then Tua's taken off right here. What a move by Tua! Oh my gosh! He could have died. Wow, dude, he took a nasty hit. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting with the defense. Minkah Fitzpatrick is back, right? This is where he was drafted, and now he's back here. Chubb is healthy. You got Chop Robinson on one side. Jalen Phillips is coming back from an injury. We'll see how he works out when he's ready to roll. You're talking about I'm actually a fan of Tyndall. I think he's a very good linebacker. The defensive line needs some work. I think the CBs, Cam Smith's kind of underrated, but I do like who's their guy now? I think their corners are young. They're just going to have to figure that part out. Yeah, so you know we'll keep this going though. So you're going to see us simulate throughout the year, just kind of get the game plan going. I'll probably turn on the auto progress and everything on, so I can't manipulate that whatsoever. But our hope is that we'll be able to kind of focus mainly on, you know, where's the organization going to go. So I'm going to try and do my best to just turn auto practice on, auto progress on. Kind of see what a throw right there. Tyreek's gone. Who was guarding him? It wasn't Hunter. What a throw. See, this is what you hope to see in Tyreek, right? Like, he still has speed. Now, he may not be the same speedster that he was 5 seasons ago, but he's still solid, man. Ridiculous, bro. 2020, Tyreek Hill was insane. 2025, he's not there yet, but he's older, man. I don't know what people expect. Like, this guy's, football is such a small window to be great, and then the hope is that, from that point, you live your life as great as best you can. Oh man, they put the freaking helmets on some of these guys. Interesting. Oh, that's kind of a move right there. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming series. We're not going to be starting those until after the updated rosters, which they tend to do right on the Thursday. So we'll get the series out and prep for the following week, and then we'll be able to catch up. Like, it shouldn't be that hard for us to kind of get some of those games going there. We'll start to, just play smart with how we're going to set up these games. I definitely don't want to get too crazy where I'm just trying to burn and churn and burn these series. My hope is that we'll be able to. What happened there? That was weird. Oh, they didn't make it 4th down. Is that we'll be able to hopefully, tweak this series out in a way that'll be really fun. That's what I'm hoping for. So we're gonna have a chance to mess with that and make some play calling again. That's something I miss all the time when it comes to Madden. I'm doing it right now in NCAA, but this is gonna be cool to see how we're gonna do that with this team. Figuring out the mascot still. What I think we did last time, I think it was like the Snowhawks. I gotta do some more history review the history of the Toronto city and kind of see what would truly be tied to them. But that'll do it for us today, everybody. If you like what you saw, please drop a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and most importantly, subscribe to keep up with the series. Oh, by the way, we will make sure to kind of talk through some sliders and kind of see how that looks like too. I don't know if I found the right CPU sliders, but I did find the right XP sliders that I think are pretty interesting. So we'll get ready to go on that one, and I hope you all will enjoy it. I appreciate everyone that stopped by today. Have yourself a good one.